People think about investing in like, a 3-bedroom house that a family would have, or putting in a more productive asset like, say, Fisher and Paykel. Even that isn't what's happening, because a lot of people just take that money and put it in the S&P 500. You tell me how the S&P 500 is a productive asset class for New Zealand, right?
We are back in your life, and today we're talking about, is property in New Zealand that unproductive, or actually does it hire a lot of people, make the country a lot of money? Mike, this has been a undertone of the podcast for a long period of time, where we're like, people go buy property, but they should be investing into shares and businesses because shares and businesses are far more productive.
Yeah.
The numbers might shock you.
They might. And, I think one of the reasons that we talk about property as an unproductive asset class is, the trope of, if you buy a property and you put your investment into this, who are you really employing? No one, right? It's just a property. Some people tenant it. Yep, you make some money off it, you flog it. If you'd taken that same investment and put it into, say, Fisher and Paykel Healthcare, wow, how many people do Fisher and Paykel employ? What is their contribution?
Or their suppliers that they use.
Exactly, right? So that's kind of, I guess, the trade-off that people look at. And I would say that's the type of thing that people think about when they think about, what do I invest in, right? Everyone thinks Fisher and Paykel, Sanitarium, like New Zealand companies, right, is the other option to buying property.
Oh, I'm surprised you didn't start ranting about Sanitarium like you normally do.
Like, hey, mate, you can't invest in Sanitarium because they're a bloody charity. Yeah.
No taxes.
No taxes.
Yeah. Okay, so let's jump into it. So about 15% of New Zealand's entire economy is tied up in housing. It's part of our DNA. Kiwis love property. We love to go to Mitre 10 or Bunnings, get a little snag, little onions, little tea sauce on there.
Bunnings on a Sunday is basically Coachella for Mike. Yeah, I am popping. You give me that. I'll eat a Bunnings sausage at any time in the morning. If it is on the barbecue outside, I don't care. And I've got the trick to it. You don't get them on the way out. You get them on the way in. So much easier.
Also, the other very interesting thing is you said Bunnings. I am very much Team Mitre 10.
Are you?
I don't even know why I'm Team... feel like you create loyalty to
We've been
one
to
of them.
Lighthouse Mitre 10 a lot together. It's bloody cold in there first thing in the morning.
It is. It is. I was also the middle of winter.
Yeah.
So if we look at the numbers to break it down. So Mike, you ready for this?
Yeah.
The sector directly contributes more than $50 billion a year. That's around 15% of our entire GDP. And that number, Michael, has doubled in the last decade.
So the sector actually employs 235,000 people, and that's 10% of our national workforce, right? So when we're talking about it doesn't employ anyone, it's not that productive, that's not what the numbers say.
And if you break it down right, and you think about it just logically, all the suppliers, so everything that it requires to build a house, they're all companies. There's a brick company somewhere. There's a jib company somewhere. Somebody's selling taps. Somebody's selling toilets. There's the agents. There's the property managers. There's a huge amount of people, even if you think about, the photography industry, lawn care. I don't know. There's a lot of stuff, Michael.
There is. I think the question with that, though, is like, it doesn't generate any money for the country. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't generate any foreign investment. You're not selling things to generate an income for the country. What you're doing is just circling money around the economy, right? I think that's the big argument around that. And again, when people make that argument, I think there's a really important thing you've got to remember, which is, yep, we are a small island nation. Yep, we export a lot of stuff, but that doesn't mean that domestic trade doesn't have an impact on people's lives. Just because we're not selling a house overseas to China or Poland or the USA, it doesn't actually mean it's not doing good for the economy.
Yeah, and yes, new money is good.
New money's great.
It'll help us grow, but it's the velocity of money as well.
Yeah, exactly.
So, we can break it down. So there's obviously residential, commercial, construction, property operations, real estate services, even, dare I say, your job, Michael.
Me.
Your job and your lifestyle and all the clothes, the beautiful clothes, the bracelets that Michael buys is all linked to the property industry. Why?
You wear one piece of jewelry.
I am projecting onto you because I don't have the self-confidence to wear a bracelet.
I'm not going to have the self-confidence to wear a bracelet soon, mate. Jeez.
Now, the question is, why did he fold his arms and hide
Why
the
am I
bracelet?
hiding it behind a chair?
Yeah. I don't know. So there is a lot of industries, and I know you're going to be like, these property bros are just like flogging and being like all pro property. Correction, we're finance bros. We like shares, we like businesses, we like property. We like the whole thing. I think it's just an interesting discussion because that concept of property is unproductive does a lot.
Oh, I completely agree. One of the other big misconceptions, I think, is when people talk about property being unproductive, what they have in their mind is like investment properties in the residential sector, right? And you're taking that off other people, you're speculating on it, it's not productive, you should be investing it somewhere else. Property is a wide asset class. There's commercial property. There is, industrial property. There is, like office blocks in the middle of the CBD. Like there's a whole lot of stuff that falls under the property industry. And it's really easy to kind of tar everyone with the same brush of being, that trope about, investors just being cockroaches and stuff. And that is not the case when it comes to property.
Yeah. So once again, look at the numbers. So $50 billion for the property industry, about $30 billion of that is manufacturing. Michael, we've just got a few, not in any particular order, but some comparisons of the property industry, how many people they employ compared to other industries. I know this is about property this episode, but I must say it's very interesting to look at. In 2012, the healthcare sector hired 26% of all New Zealanders, and now it's down to 11%.
Yeah.
It does make me go like, is that the fundamental problem?
One of the other things to look at here, retail trade employs 218,000 Kiwis. The property industry, 235,000 Kiwis, which I find really interesting is that actually the property industry is employing more people than retail.
Yep. If we move on to KiwiSaver as well, so there's $123 billion in KiwiSaver. 3.6 billion of that is invested into property, and 14 of the 38 KiwiSaver schemes report exposure to unlisted property, which is mostly within New Zealand. I don't know if you've seen what old mate Sam Stubbs is up to at Simplicity. Have you seen those blocks of rent to build?
He's going for it.
There is a lot of housing that is getting built off the back of that.
Yeah, and he's done it. He's identified a problem in New Zealand that he wants to fix for the good of the country, and he's using his KiwiSaver funds to try and do that. He thinks, we've got a supply problem. If I supply more houses, I'll correct the market.
Yeah. So, Michael, it's all great to go like, look at all these numbers for what property does. But what I'm keen to know from you is, does New Zealand rely too heavily on property, as an economy? And we're going to talk about that after this break. Hey guys, so thank you for watching this podcast. Really what the podcast is all about is helping Kiwis make better decisions with their money. The way you can support us is to subscribe to the channel so more people find out about us. There's over 75,000 downloads a month, but only 50% of people watching subscribe to the channel. So please hit that subscribe or follow button if you're on Spotify. Now, back to the episode.
Yeah, Jason, I think one of the important things to think about here with the property market is, if it is just spinning money around, how do we make it more productive? How do we make it a better market to be in, right? And we talked about Sam Stubbs, building smarter. He's building a different style of house, more intensification in terms of the house where he's building the houses, close to infrastructure links, near city centers. He's trying to solve a problem by building smarter, not just building more houses, not just going, cool, I'm going to get some land down in South Auckland and just keep going outwards, right? He's going up and he's doing it smart. But some of the other things we could be doing, right? You could shift some of that investment away from the retail sector more towards that commercial style property, industrial plants, something that is maybe a more productive style of asset as opposed to just houses.
Yeah, a business needs to operate from somewhere that can create an opportunity to hire more people. That site needs to be there to be able to do those things.
Yep. Other things we can do, modernize construction, right? So how do we get the construction industry to be, more environmentally friendly? How is it faster? How does it build houses that don't leak? Is a great one. I've always found that really interesting because it's like, even now we're still building leaky houses, which is just insane. There's an apartment block up near where we live, and it won an award like a couple of years ago for like, the design and the architecture and stuff. It's now leaking like 3 years after it was built. I'm like, come on, man.
But boy, does it look cool.
Yeah.
And wet.
Yeah, it looks damp. Yeah.
I mean, another one is like kind of golden visas as well, that if we can build houses that quite wealthy people want to live in, which I know might sound a little bit weird, but like then they can bring their money across and they can spend that on lots of things and invest in businesses. And that's another opportunity there as well.
Yeah. And I always find that bit really interesting because that's a really touchy subject, right? People being like, oh, why are we selling these houses to, foreigners? We've got a supply issue in New Zealand. There's an affordability issue. Like, most of the time, these houses are like 5-6 mil, right? They're pretty expensive houses. Your average person isn't competing for these properties, and I would argue that the value of bringing those funds into New Zealand and the value of having those investors in New Zealand or spending time in New Zealand probably outweighs the small section of the property market that they're chewing up.
For sure. I agree. So look, that's our thoughts on property, whether it's productive. Look, I get that maybe it's not as productive compared to other asset classes. That's probably not the point. But you look at it actually how dependent New Zealand's economy is on it, and it's a decent chunk of our GDP.
Oh, absolutely. And like, I don't mind the argument. I actually enjoy the discussion about this. And like, because if there's a better way to do something, we want to do it better. If we should be directing money to like more, productive asset classes, like, yeah, we can do that. My point at the top of the podcast where I was talking about, people think about investing in like, a 3-bedroom house that a family would have, or putting in a more productive asset like, say, Fisher and Paykel. Even that isn't what's happening because a lot of people just take that money and put it in the S&P 500. You tell me how the S&P 500 is a productive asset class for New Zealand, right? Like, it's not money going back into the economy. So you've just got to weigh these things up when we're having the discussion.
Okay, we'll wrap it up right there. Please make sure to subscribe to the channel, give us a review, give us a like, and we'll catch you next time.
Cheers.